Good afternoon, everyone. This is Talisha, Sister Girl Radio on IntellectualRadio.com. I have here with me Leah, as always, my regular, and I have a new guest with me today. Her name is Alanje.
Hello, hello.
And I just want to, Alanje, tell them a little bit about yourself, introduce yourself, anything you want to share before we get started.
Nothing too big. I can definitely say I am a middle-aged African-American woman, Pan-Africanist, master's degree in sociology with an emphasis in counseling, and I am just happy to be on your show today, Talisha.
That is amazing. Thank you for being on my show. And Leah, just what's going on with you? Let's just check in with you. What's been going on?
Hey, people.
They're so used to you being here.
I know, right? I am battling a sick husband, and I don't know if any of you have men in your lives. When they get sick, it takes a lot. So
They're big babies.
they are, but he's the type, because he's so independent. I don't want you to do anything for me, but you're like growing up, like hanging over the side of the bed. You should probably lay down.
Now, how is school going with you balancing both?
School is, you know what? This semester, because I knew what to expect, the time management is like insane, but I'm getting it done. Like, I'm not so stressed to where it's like, oh my God, I have a paper due. No, I look at the syllabus. We have 14 weeks. I know that on week 7 it's probably midterm, so around then, don't schedule a whole lot of other stuff to do. So it's a matter of time management. But this semester, I have to say, it's by far the least stressed that I've been.
Well, may I ask, so what are you in school for?
You may. Hi, by the way, and I don't believe
Hello.
that you're middle-aged. You look amazing. Let me just throw that out there. Like, this is one of those examples of black doesn't crack. I love it. But yeah, I am currently pursuing a Master of Arts in Counseling Psychology.
All right.
I already have a Master's of Psychology, but it wasn't specific to what I want to do because my specialty is trauma. So, to make sure that I'm overqualified, basically, I'm pursuing another Master's, and then it goes into my doctorate in clinical psychology.
Okay. Don't worry about it. Just blame your advisor next time.
You know what? It wasn't the advisor. I was in Florida, and their requirements for licensure are vastly different than the state of Illinois. So it was basically like, for what it would take for me to be considered, I guess, equivalent, I may as well just go get another degree. Like, it was pretty much like another degree program. So
Understand.
Okay, ladies. Well, what I want to start off talking about is a few topics. Let's start off with, I call it the other woman. And it's 2 parts to this segment, so we're going to start off with the first. I just want to begin it. I'm sure as ladies, we've all been in a situation where we have been cheated on, or maybe possibly don't know your personal story, has been on the other side, don't know. My issue is that I want to say, segue into her, is I believe that if you're cheated on, let's say in a marriage and you're cheated on, if there's a child involved, it's more difficult to take that person back versus if it's just infidelity. My personal opinion. It's very big of you if you do. It's great if you do, but I just think it's a little extra. I don't know if I want to say sting, but it's a little extra to it because it's more involved now. It's a lifetime now. It's not just that one incident. And I would find it hard not to bring it up, use it as a weapon, things like that. And I just want to kind of talk about it because it's very difficult. We've all had different situations in our lives, but I just feel like it's a very difficult situation to get over when it's a child involved versus just infidelity. Not saying you can't, and not saying you can't love the child and everything else. I just think that it's an extra step of healing to get over when that happens versus he just cheated. What do you think about that, Lily? Do you think it's an extra step, or how do you feel?
I think any woman who's ever been cheated on, first of all, I believe that your response to it is pretty much a testament of, 1, your maturity, and 2, your values. Are you so stuck on, I care about my marriage and I said for better or worse, and this is definitely worse? Or, is it more of, hey, these are my non-negotiables. You violated my non-negotiables. And, it's up to the woman. It's your decision. Nobody has any right to judge. You chose to stay with this man and he was unfaithful because he may have been an amazing husband and a, awesome provider. And he just messed up because, let's be honest, people mess up. I'm not saying that makes it okay to cheat. That's nowhere what I'm saying. But stuff happens. You know what I mean? So each situation is different. So I don't feel like we can have a blanket answer for, if he cheats on me, I'm going to leave. Well, maybe not. I also feel like the maturity factor comes in. Let's just say another life is created. You as a woman, you as someone who may have children, may not, you as a caregiver have to understand that this life had absolutely nothing to do with the circumstances in which it was created. You can't take it out on the child. You can't use that child. I'm not saying we don't, because it happens, but me personally, I just feel like it had nothing, the baby had absolutely nothing to do with it. This child didn't ask to be created. This child didn't say, Daddy, go do something stupid and I want to be here. So I don't feel like that's fair to take out anybody's like circumstances as to how they were created and then use that as either a crutch or a weapon for yourself. I think that's incredibly selfish. And I feel like rather than you further the cycle of damage because you're hurt, because we know hurt people, but because you're hurt because of this situation, you are now damaging another life. That's not okay. That's not ever going to be okay. The level you deal with your husband, that's between you and that other adult. But to hurt a child in the process, I don't see any situation where that's okay.
But do you agree that it's an extra sting when there's a baby about to be involved?
I don't think it hurts any less to know that for me personally, I'm not hurt either way. You violated this. We took this vow before God and our friends and our family that it is you and you're supposed to forsake all others and be with me. So no, because anytime you have sex, there's a chance that you could have a child, whether you use protection where you're not. The only way to be 100% sure that you're not reproducing is to not have sex. So no, it's not an extra thing. Now, the after effects, if you really sit down and ruminate over all the facts of when did you do it, how did you do it, whatever, yeah, there may be some additional like emotional things that you have to work through. But the truth of the matter is he cheated or she cheated, whatever the situation is. You violated these vows that we took. No, either way, that for me, that there's no coming back from that. Like sorry.
I have to disagree with you, Leah. I think I do. I think that, and I gotta choose my words real careful. It's a constant. It's always gonna be a reminder there, but it takes a big person to, like you said. I agree with. There's nothing that child did. You don't treat that child differently because I am a bonus child, as you like to call it, and my bonus dad is my superhero, never treated me differently, not once. So I wouldn't want that to be an issue, but it's a little different circumstance because I know women personally that have treated the child differently or won't let the child be a part of the lives, like as a punishment or shunned, if he took them back. But my thing is, and my mom always said, if you're going to take somebody back, that's your way of saying you're forgiven. And you can't constantly use it as a bullet, even though we as women ain't going to never forget it. But if you choose to take him back, you can't on Tuesday when you take the garbage out, bring it up. Or he didn't go to the grocery store, bring it up. Or make him feel like he has to continue to make up for it forever. Now, he can do whatever he needs to do to make you feel secure where you weren't prior to it. But once we do that, we either move on or we don't. I feel personally, I wouldn't be able to stay in that situation. Like you said, it's violated, and to me, it's a whole different thing with the infidelity and with the infidelity in a child. And according to the Bible, he said if any one of you cheat, that is licensed to get a divorce. So I can get a scripture while I'm signing the papers. So that's your choice, and that's your marriage, that's your decision. I just feel personally that it's an extra cut for me. But that's me. I would never take anything out on the child, but I'm talking about staying versus staying or not. But I mean, we all say what we will and won't do, but that's just my personal opinion. But I'm gonna let Alonjay chime in on how she feels about that.
I was just about to say if I can chime in.
But I was getting to you. We have a little situation over here. I'm trying, but go ahead.
That's all right. We all talkative people around here. That's why it's a talk show. It's the point. But if I can say, you have a very, very big heart. Because one of the things with you, Leah, to open up or to have that conversation in general is a very hard conversation to have, and it's also easier said than done. I can definitely say that. But let's talk about the real key factor, that kind of the elephant in the room. Before the child, let's just talk about if two parties or one party cheats on another party, it's always that trust. And so the trust is broken at that point, and it hurts and it cuts very, very deep. And then when you include a child, now we're talking about something that will linger on forever in the day. You can never not be the father or the mother of that child at that point. And that can actually open up a whole can of worms and another set of issues in itself. So, Talisha, I can definitely say for you, if you say that you wouldn't stay, that's fine. Leah, you may say you will stay, you may say you won't stay. That's a very hard situation. And I think until you're placed into that situation, then you can only know or make that judgment call at that point. Do you all agree with that?
Absolutely, I do agree. It's individual. It's individual. It's based on that person.
Mm-hmm.
And
but not just based on the person. Can you honestly say that that far as is it? You can only make that call once you're actually in that decision, because a lot of people can say, or even used to say, I remember Oprah Winfrey saying something to the effect of, women would go on the show and say, oh, if my man cheated, then I'm leaving him. And then cheating became kind of a common factor where it was brought to the forefront, brought in the media. Now we have social media, so now you know whether your man is cheating probably a little bit quicker, as opposed to, in ancient history. And a lot of people were still taking their men back. So I don't think you can necessarily say whether you would or you would not, unless you was brought into that situation.
I agree. And like I stated before, at the end of it, I said it all depends. But some women have it in their mind what they want to do. But I'm not going to back down from the fact that I think, and I'm trying to find what I want to say, it's extra with the baby versus just infidelity. It's cheating, period. It's cheating, period. You broke our vows, everything. However, now as a woman, I have to embrace this child as my own, on top of the fact that I have to remember that my husband just stepped out. It's a lot going on in this stew. So I'm not going to back down from the fact that infidelity with a child are the same. That's what I'm trying to say. It's not the same.
And I agree. I don't think it's the same either.
Leah says she feels like it is either one or the other, but I think it's a difference.
So I think with the child, it just has more of a lingering effect, because like I say, you have to deal with a whole nother set of issues. Like, that child will forever remain in the both of y'all life. That's the thing. Right. Like that's another whole nother party, and you will forever and a day be reminded that child is from a surprise.
And when people say, till he 18, no. I'm not 18. I'm grown, and it continues. Now you got weddings and marriage and babies, and it's lifetime, period. And you have to deal with that with the mother. So now you got to look in the face of the woman that he cheated on. Now, did she know or did she not know? That plays no part. Now you got to deal with her. She coming to baby shower. She's coming to birth. It keeps going. It's a ripple effect. She's a part of the family. Everybody can't be Jada Pinkett and just embrace everybody. It just doesn't work like that. So you have to, when you sit down and think about taking him back, you have to think about all the olive branches and all the parts that's going to happen with that. It's not just he come over on Saturday, eat some cereal, and go home. No, we're going to have to deal with the mom. If the mom has a husband, deal with that. It can go bigger and bigger and bigger. It grows bigger and bigger and bigger. So that's why I would say it would be big of you to go ahead and say, okay, you know what, you made a mistake. I'm going to embrace this child and we're going to keep it moving. I'm not trying to say don't do it. You're allowed. That's your marriage. You're allowed to do whatever you want to. If you have 5, you're allowed to do what you want to. I'm just explaining that I think it's a difference. Now, what I think men should do, and I'm not saying you should cheat. I don't like the fact that you don't give someone a choice. I don't know if either one of you women had that situation, but that you don't know that this man is married. Oh, you have? Have you had that situation?
I have not.
Have you had a situation where you're talking to him and he said he didn't have a girlfriend and maybe somebody called your phone?
That has not happened to
Has
me
it ever happened to
personally.
you?
Yes.
Okay,
yes,
so we can kind of, I ain't gonna leave you out, but we can kind of chit chat. I'm not trying to say give the sideline girl application, but let me make that choice. Don't take that from me. And and either he's being a pig or he just isn't satisfied or whatever. However, you're not giving me that choice. So now 2:00 in the morning, I got to hear from Leisha. It's just give her that look. I'm in a relationship, but what's up? Or I'm not in a relationship, but for you to, non-voluntarily be the other woman. I mean, it's just if everybody would tell the truth, it'd be great. But I'm just saying, it's just happened, and you don't even know that you're the other woman. You thinking that we dating and we together, and then you get that phone call. So how do you feel about that situation?
Angry.
Oh, I like that.
For lack of a better word, simply because, okay, you go to, for me, I'm at this, college and I'm working on being an independent woman and I'm going to do what I want to do. Nowhere in my resume is it, I want to be number 2 to anybody. And the fact that I was not, I wasn't privy to this information because one thing I do require in any of my relationship and my friendship, tell me what's up front. Like, be honest with me. You broke friend, that's cool. If I think you're a good person, come on, I got you. Let's go. You know what I mean? But tell me what I'm getting myself into and allow me to make that decision. Number 1, point blank, period. Number 2, and this is just me personally, I don't know if people can relate. If you can like something, do heart something, pray for me or something. But, I've had a situation where I really like this guy. Like, you're different. And I can't really put my finger on it. Now, me being more mature, I recognize that not being able to put my finger on it was probably that intuition, like, hey, maybe you should look over here and see what he's like when he's not with you. But whatever, you're young and you're in love. And this guy is amazing. And, you're gassing me up. We're going to be together and we're going to build this empire together. And I'm like, yes. You're at my home. I'm building a relationship with your child because this particular gentleman had a son that I'm to this day still crazy about. Where he called me and told me about school and girlfriends and all types of interesting things. But we're extending this. Yeah.
Y'all were in 4-4.
Yeah, you at my house. After
so he didn't have the leather couch and nothing in his house where it was a trap house. You really was at the house.
At the house. Met the mom and dad.
Wait a minute. He was married. So the mom, he introduced, were they separated?
Eventually it came out, basically, they weren't legally separated. They got into a real bad argument. She went to a whole nother state. He stayed, where we were.
Okay.
But that's probably something you should tell somebody.
Yeah, it can come up after tea.
Hey, by the way, this baby mama who I'm telling you that I can't stand, yeah, we were married and we're somewhere in this, we're building towards something. You probably should mention,
absolutely.
By the way, like if something happens to me, you know how they call that next of kin? Yeah, so you can't be my next of kin because I have a wife. Somewhere in there, slip it in, but I had no idea until advent of social media, and there was one particular picture with myself and his son because I'm into it. I'm at games. Right. I'm buying snacks for the team. I'm team mom.
Right.
Want some
oh wow,
into it, right? Oh, wow. And
so you were fiance.
We've met family. You've met my grandparents. Like, this is deep.
He had a wife and a fiance.
Whole wife. A whole wife. Like,
okay, so get back to that picture.
Yeah. So it's this picture because I think he won some award he won, and I'm proud because this is my baby. I've invested in you. We do homework. We say our letters together. We pray before bed. Like, yes. And I guess it was the wife's best friend. Small circles. We know each other very well, actually. Like, we know each other. Our families go back. Like, we know each other. You've been to my home. I've been to yours. I think we've gone out together. Like, I know you.
Wow.
The best friend is like, hey, oh, so you cool being a side chick? Huh? What? What are you talking about? He married, right? To who?
She posted that on your comment? See, that Facebook gets you caught up.
Did you know that such and such is his
And y'all
wife?
going back and forth in the
No,
comments?
after that, it was like, hey, you need to pick up the phone or I'm coming to your house. What are you talking about?
I heard that.
What do you mean? So now I have to go back to him. Hey, funny story. How was work today? You good? You hungry? That's too bad. This is what I'm dealing with. What is this? And now you're left with the that's your response to we've been doing this for a year.
A year?
Yeah, like you have keys to my home, I have keys to your home. We trade cars. If it's something for your child, I'm authorized to go get him from school. Like nowhere in here did you think maybe you should mention. Yeah.
So how long after that did you end it?
How long? Okay, so the message came through at like 2:35. He got off at 5. By 6 o'clock, I'm packing my stuff. Like, there's no toothbrush at your home because if you couldn't be honest with me about some portion of your life this big, she said no, you leave your toothbrush. You leave the crappy toothbrush in his house. You don't take the automatic one. You leave that at home. You take the anyway. But no, because you violated one of my. Again, know your non-negotiables. I cannot take being lied to. To me, lying by omission is still lying. And if we're sharing all this major stuff, like I've told you things about my childhood that nobody knows, nowhere in there did anything prick you or urge you, hey, I have something uncomfortable to discuss too. Here's what it is.
Okay.
That to me is enough for me to know not only are you not the man that I'm supposed to be with, I don't even want to be your friend, let alone associated with you. Do not call me. Exactly. If I see you in the street, look that way. Exactly. I really want to tell you some other choice words, but we're better now. So we don't say those choice words. But yeah, no, I'm hurt. Like beyond anything, beyond the fact that you didn't tell me, I'm hurt because I thought you respected me enough to be honest.
Exactly.
Through everything. You can never say I was dishonest. If I didn't like something, hey, here you go. If an ex-boyfriend pops up in town, hey, at that party we were gonna go to, I'm not gonna go. Here's why.
I agree.
Tell me. And the fact that you didn't, not only did you not, now you have a whole child involved.
And that's the hard part when you involve the children, because you build a relationship with that child and then it either has to be diminished or modified once the situation is over. So I want to kind of segue into a child of a mistress. And I'm going to bring it over to Alonje, and I want her to share some things, and then we'll interject with questions. But Jay, I would like you to start off by sharing your story, your personal story, please.
Okay, before I share my story, though, let's back up to these keys. So did you have keys to the main house or the side house? Because I'm not understanding.
The house, like the main house, like where
so
your
where was the
family
wife?
comes in. She was in another state.
Oh, my. Okay.
Yeah, but you're legally his wife. Anytime you feel like you want to pop up to what's legally your house,
it's not her fault.
I'm in here sleep, walking around in my little cute stuff. And what is this? No, we're not doing this ever. No.
Yeah.
No.
And that's a whole can of worms in itself, because like if she had came in slicing and dicing, you would have been sitting there like, first of all, who are you? Like what exactly?
Why are you so angry?
Right.
Wow. I had to ask that question. Talisha didn't want me to chime in up in there. She had to flow on that one, but I was like, no, I have to ask about the keys.
I'm not upset at all. No, go ahead.
I have to ask about the keys.
That really bothered you. I got the key.
It did.
So everything. Like the car, I have your spare car key.
Inquisitive minds just want to know.
That's fine.
It's okay. He knows.
So should I repeat what I said, or are you okay with it?
Yeah, let's move forward with it.
Okay. So I want Alonje to first of all explain her personal experience on this topic, and then we'll discuss it.
Okay. Well, I can definitely say that I am a product of cheating. My mother was a mistress, and I am the surprise bonus child, whatever you have it, whatever you want to call it. I can definitely say that in itself, it actually interfered with my life. It caused a lot of neglect. My father chose to not be in my life, or to be in my life, I guess, when he wanted to. So I can definitely say that in itself just caused some emotional trauma, attachment issues, commitment issues with me, and I see it now in the relationships that I have with people. So that in itself was just it, it, it was just traumatizing. It was, to say the least. I can definitely say that for me, it is, and I know I'm saying a lot of but I am a guest on the show, and I can say that for me, a lot of the hosts may not want to say but as far as me, that's how I kind of express myself. This is a very difficult topic for me to talk about, but I was asked to come on the show to talk about me being the other child, so that's exactly what I'm going to talk about. For me, I can say that it was growing up without a father in itself was very hurtful. You know, you would see other fathers, you would have daddy-daughter dance. Where is my, father at? I had no stepfather. So a lot of times that was just, it saddened me a lot. It caused me to emotionally eat. It caused me to be an anorexic. It caused me to ask my mother a lot of questions that probably have hurt her. And to this day, I still do not know a lot of my siblings. My brothers and sisters have no idea about me. I've never met the wife. Whether he chose to not bring me in his life, in his family's life, or maybe that was the wife saying, I want nothing to do with her. I found out about her and that's it. And that's how we're going to continue our life. Whatever decision he made, it was just very traumatizing to me. So that's why I tell people, you have to make good decisions for the future. You can't think about the right now. I know we are sexual beings. We get caught up in the heat of the moment. We're attracted to more than just one person, but you have to think about the lasting and lingering effect that you're going to bring on other people's lives when you make a decision of that nature. It would hurt me more probably to know if it was just, say, my husband, given that hypothetical scenario, that you didn't even use protection. Because let's just say it could be something so much more than just a child. It could be an STD. It could be anything. So you didn't even have enough common sense to protect yourself in that heat of the moment. And you wasn't even thinking like, okay, this is the outcome. And if this is the outcome, this is going to cause this and this is going to cause that. You know, it's a cause and effect situation. So to not care, to not, give a crap about anybody else but yourself at that moment, that's a very, very selfish act. So that I can say is kind of my life in a nutshell. I don't know if Talisha wants me to go in more, but that's pretty much my synopsis of it.
I do have a few questions. Did the wife ever find out about it, or your mom kept quiet and didn't say anything and just went with the flow, or was the wife ever informed, or he just played it off like basically you never existed?
Excellent question. So my mother told me about the family. She told me that, she was a mistress. She explained it to me in layman terms to where a 7-year-old would know, how to explain that to a 7-year-old. She told me that, she knew that my father was married, that she wanted him, that she did what she did. And because of that, she explained to me that she was not only the mother, but also a father. I knew I loved my mother. I had a very close relationship with my mother. So my situation was fine up until I was 15 years old. And then at that point, I had no one because my mother passed away from a heart attack. So, as far as the other woman or his wife finding out, I don't know if she knows to this day.
So, personal question.
Mm-hmm.
By you being on the other side of the game, if that was to be your circumstances, knowing how abandoned you felt, would you automatically be like, okay, I'll embrace this child, and you made a mistake, knowing that you had the effects of being that child and the neglect that caused, whether the wife knew or not? Would that be something that, if you were in that predicament, you would think twice because of the situation you were in?
Definitely. You know, something that I've always told my ex-husband is that if you have outside children or children, period, no matter whether we're together or not, make sure that my children know all of their siblings, because that's how later in life you will have a situation where you're sleeping with your cousin or, you know, someone in the family. I mean, it happens. That really does happen. And that's the thing. You don't want that accident, that mistake to happen. So eliminate all of that. Not to mention, you never know, because we're all on this earth to help each other. That's why it's more than one person on this earth. And the thing of it is that you never know what void that sibling could be filling in your life, and vice versa. You know, it's all about relationships, and that's what this world is all about. So it's a relationship in itself, and it's family. So it's the closest relationship.
Now, and by the way, this has been my friend for 20 years, so I know her personally, because I don't want everybody to think. My mother offered to take you in when we were younger because you were basically an orphan, and you chose not to do that. Why at that time did you choose not to? I mean, we were like sisters. You know, you would have had structure. Why did you choose at that moment not to come into a household that, you know, Kenny was there, my mom was there, you already was going to the same school? What made you choose not to come in there? Was it you enjoyed your freedom, or you didn't want to come up under somebody else's wing, or you just felt like you were out there by yourself, and this is just how, you know, how you raise yourself? Because once your mother passed, it was just you. Your brother didn't live around here. So what made you make the decision, say, nah, I passed? Because you did say that you wish you could go back and say, yeah, I'll come stay. So what made you make that decision at that time? We were 16. So what made you make that decision? Being young?
So definitely being young. I can definitely say that I wasn't necessarily, by definition terms, an orphan, because I did have family. I just did not have structure within that family.
I apologize. I shouldn't have said orphan. I should have said your mother passed and your father wasn't in your life. So I apologize at the word orphan.
And I can understand. But we knew each other at that age. You wanted to come over my house a lot because there was a lot of freedom. You know,
we're not gonna go there.
No. The thing of it is that we're getting it out there. We had a lot of freedom. We did, and we enjoyed our freedom. We enjoyed our freedom very much so. But the thing of it is that looking back now, you know, knowing what I know now and being, you know, in a sense, a middle-aged woman, it's like back then. The thing of it is that back then I needed that structure. As a teenager, you think that you know everything. You think that, you know, the world is your oyster and I can do anything I want to do and there are no serious repercussions. And then as you get older, you're like, oh my God, well, maybe if I had been under a structured system, then that would have never happened. And as a result, because of that happened. And once again, cause and effect.
But you pulled through.
I did.
And you're an amazing mom. You're an educated woman. And so at all those things you said you dealt with as a child, you overcame it.
That's true.
And thank God for that, because it could have went a different way. You could have done other things. You know how some people choose different paths in life. So I thank God that you still picked yourself up and kept it moving, you know, because it could be a whole different person we're sitting here talking to right now.
That's true. Well,
but I like how you said it, how it affects your eating, you know, because I'm an emotional eater too, how it affected, because my biological father not being in my life definitely plays a part on relationships and friendships. And even though I do have a father, a bonus father in my life, it's not the same. It never can be the same. I don't care if it's 1,000,000 years from now, it can never be the same. So it affects you. People think it doesn't, and that's why I can't understand how fathers cannot be in their kids' life. It affects every little step you take in life.
Everything.
Mom not there or dad not there. It affects every little step from decisions. I even, the guy who be on the radio, he said even people who have the structure, even in school, even their grades, it affects every little step. And I don't care how you feel about the mother. How could you abandon your child? I can never understand that. But what I'll say about my mom, she never once spoke bad about my father. And what that helped me do is when I got older and I heard the backpedaling, I had to say, no. I remember sitting on the porch and you didn't pick me up. I remember the promises. Even one time, and I love my mom, she said I was sitting in her lap. I don't want to get emotional. I can't believe I'm even sharing this, but I was sitting in her lap and he called and asked for me, and I was like, tell him I'm not here. and then of course Cheryl. Talisha is here, but she doesn't want to talk to you. I love my mom. I go back to being a little girl sometimes. And that's why I think a lot of girls cling to men that they're not supposed to, or be in relationships that they're not supposed to. Go back to the home. Go back to the family. Thank God for Kenneth Ramsey being my superhero. I thank God for him, and thank God for him being my mom's superhero. But that still doesn't replace what the relationship I had with my father.
Exactly.
So I can kind of relate as far as my biological father not being in my life. Mm-hmm. But you had great people around you. You got Todd and everything. But I want to chime in with Leah. Don't want to leave her out. And just see how you feel about the situation and what we talked about, because we kind of was over here. So how do you feel about everything we just said?
Well, before that, you guys are really brave. And, that's still me being like the mental health person. You have to get it out. It's okay to be emotional. Like, you have to revisit that place of pain if you're ever going to be healed and move forward. So I commend both of you for just being honest enough with yourself to share.
Thank you.
It could heal somebody else.
It could. You never know who might be sitting there feeling like I'm not worth living because my dad isn't here, or you know what I mean? Like, you never know how your story might impact someone for the better.
Right.
So I really appreciate both of you for being so vulnerable. That's just my 2 cents.
Because I usually am never.
But it's there. Obviously, it's there.
I carry this with me, and I'm probably will for the rest of my life. It's something you have to pray about and talk yourself out of. I've carried it, and probably, I don't want to confess it, but it lives with me every day. Mm-hmm. It lives in every decision. It lives in every process. That's why I said, when these people think it's just whatever, I'm not in his life, you don't understand the effect. Especially, I think, we say boys, but I think it's worse with the girls. They say it's worse because now I don't have an example of daddy. Everybody don't get a Kenny like I did. So now I don't have an example of daddy. So now here come Troy, the gangster, and he be like, I love you and you cute, and here we go. And now it's Bonnie and Clyde. Now I'm serving 30 years in jail because he told me he loved me, and I'm the one that robbed the bank. You see how it keeps going? Because those women, because I love murder kill shows. Those women, for my man, all of them, it was because he said I loved you, and all of them didn't have their father in their life, and all of them, whatever he said, she did, and all. If you go back to the history, that's what I was like, look, and now he out kicking it with Keisha, and you serving 30 years. So you have to go back to the root. Everything has a root. What you see in front of you is just what you see in front of you. But if you go back, even with gang violence, I hate to go off subject, because somebody on Facebook, we were talking about topics. They said, Talisha, why do you think it's so bad in Chicago? I said, I can't explain that, but 2 things are why you join a gang: money and acceptance. Those are the only 2 reasons. And they all intertwine. Go back to all these little boys' lives and tell me if they got a father, or tell me if they have this. So if you got a man who says, okay, come in our family, let's do this, but this is what you got to do, just like I reflected on the woman. So we have to go back to the root, and it looks like it always starts with the home and the parenting to me. You don't see a pattern here? Because it affects you throughout your whole life. Luckily, you went a different way, but it still affects you every day. You said it yourself, it still affects you every day.
And it's a continuing cycle. It will forever and a day affect any child who is fatherless. I will have to disagree with you on that as far as the gender roles go. I think it's just important for, be it male or female, to have mother and father in their life. And that's why it takes 2 to procreate. That's exactly why. That's the whole reason for the purpose and the setup. And if you don't have that, then something will be missing out of that equation, because what's going to happen to that young man who does not know how to be a man because his father is in his life, and then in turn he meets a Talisha and he dates a Talisha and does not know how to treat a woman?
Okay. No, I agree. I see your point, but I'm sorry, Leah, because you're going to have the last leg of this.
I will be as brief as I can. Number 1, yes, I agree with you. It does take 2. However, I also think, and this relates to, you accepting being a side chick, or, you joining a gang or making bad decisions because you're lacking parental or any other type of structure. Not only do I think it's a matter of position to have, the male figure in position or to have the female figure. I think it's more so a question, and really we need to have the conversation of functioning, because I don't think that the little boy whose dad is just not around is any more well off than that little boy that has a father who is a horrible example of a man. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think it benefits him to see dad. Not saying that our men do this, but you have the examples of the man who does not work, who cheats on the mom.
Yes, that's true.
Takes her car and has her late for work because he's out doing whatever he wants to do. I don't feel like that child is any more well prepared to step up and be a man, as we put so much pressure on them to do, just because your father was in the house. Like, anybody can say, yeah, my mom and my dad were in the house, but what did they do? Did your father teach you these values? Did your mother tell you about things that you should do? Were they examples of the type of lifestyle that you now want? You know what I mean? So I don't want to just reduce some of our issues to, oh, you need a mom and dad in the house. No, you need the parents. You need two, but you also need two to function in their roles. I think that's a big issue, because if mom is mom and dad, regardless of whether or not, if dad is in Alaska or dad is sitting on the couch, you're in the same boat. You think this is okay. What example of manhood, what example of fatherhood, what example of a provider, what example of a protector do you have if the man that is supposed to be showing you these things is not? You know what I mean? So I definitely think you can't just reduce it to, you need a mom and dad. No, you need an active mother and father. And that's not necessarily defined by genetics. Just because I birth you doesn't mean that I'm going to be a good mother to you.
Absolutely.
You know?
Well, I understand what you're saying. I didn't go as deep as you went. I was just saying in general, my point was, when I say the father, I am talking about one you could look up to, one that can be there. But I see what you're saying. If he's playing video game and eating cereal, it's the same thing you're going to do. I get that same thing with the mother. And I do not believe that having a child makes you more of a woman or makes you a mother. Because a lot of people tell me that I'm not complete because I don't have children. I'm not fully a woman because I don't have children. You don't either. So I know you're about to chime in. And I'm going to have to I'm going to have to disagree with you on that, because animals reproduce and they leave their babies right there on the ground, just like some women do. Leave them right at the hospital. So it makes it no difference to me if you don't step up regardless. Just because you gave birth, that's going to happen to your body regardless, no matter what type of person you are. That doesn't make you a mother, nor does it make you more of a woman just because it's what you do after the baby is here. It's what you do throughout your lifetime. That's how I feel about the situation. But you wouldn't look, you therapist me on that one.
I'm sorry, guys. I can't help it.
When I say father and mother in the home, I'm hoping and praying they are ones that we can look up to and that we can. But I do thank God that there are men out there who will step up and come into a woman's life and be that superhero. Like I said, I wish everybody at Kenny that doesn't have one. But in certain situations, the stepfather can come in and be worse, and you already got this battle, and they can step in and make the situation worse than what it was before. So it's just all about, like you said, this person and what they're going to represent in the kid's life. So with that being said, Alonja, is there anything else you want to say before we get off there?
I have nothing to say. I've aired my dirty laundry out.
And I want to take the time on air to thank you from the bottom of my heart for sharing your story, because like I said, anybody can hear this, need this, or can see that they can relate. So I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for opening up and sharing the story with us.
Definitely. And I'll be opening up my story even more. I'm actually having a book that's coming out, and the title will be Give the People What They Want. Because it will be a lot of misconceptions, or there has been a lot of misconceptions out about me, and I want to clear the air. And I feel that if I do it in my writing and you purchase it, all the better.
And there really isn't books out there for people that are in your situation, unless I'm mistaken. Have you ever heard of? No, it's not kind of like the forgotten, because no offense, but it's kind of like pushed under the table. I have never heard of a book like that. So I think that is amazing, and I wish you nothing but success with that. Lee, is there anything you want to say before we wrap it up?
Other than ditto, like kudos. Please tell me when the book comes out. I want it.
Definitely.
One, nosy, but two, that like you have to get it out there because you don't know who you're impacting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I'm hoping by mid 2018, and I will definitely let you all know via Facebook, Skype, and any other social media
Oh, now you're gonna
leverage.
use social media. I'm joking. I'll do it for her. Ladies, I thank you both for coming on my show. I think this was an amazing show. I hope we touch anyone out there that we need to, because I believe our life is a ministry and God put this on her heart to talk about. So it was necessary.
Definitely.
So up next, we have He Say, She Say with Wanda B. Please like me on Facebook at Sister Girl Entertainment. And I'm Talisha, and thanks for tuning in to Sister Girl on IntellectualRadio.com.
I'm used to being at the top, but tonight it's going down. You saying you the king, well, baby, show me the crown. And you say you love that action like a verb to a noun. But see, I'm something like Michelle, the way I tend to